What is happening, everybody? Liv Moods here with another Liv Moods podcast right here on YouTube. You can anticipate another YouTube video tonight, actually, where I will be recapping Week 8 in the NFL, following Monday Night Football, maybe drop a power ranking, maybe drop a QB ranking. We'll see how I'm feeling, but I will drop another YouTube tonight to kind of recap every team. But for today, there are two Denver teams that I really want to talk about. One being the best team in the NBA right now, and it's very obvious, and also a team that broke a 16-game losing streak. Shout out Denver Broncos. Listen, there's a lot to unpack here. We're going to start with the Nuggets because I feel like I have less to say about that. Then we'll get into the Denver Broncos, and like I said, tonight, anticipate another YouTube video where we'll be talking about all the other NFL teams so that you're not just bored with Denver content. However, there's no way you're bored because there's a lot freaking going on right now with Denver sports in terms of the NBA as well as the NFL. So let's get right into it. Let's start with the Denver Nuggets. I think there was some concern as we entered this season about the championship hangover. We didn't see Jokic in the gym very much. Not to say he wasn't. We saw him in Serbia, kind of felt like he came back at the last second. What are we going to get? Is there going to be some of those cobwebs to dust off? What are we going to see from this championship team? And they haven't missed a beat. I want to talk about the bench more importantly. Guys like Christian Brown, guys like Peyton Swatson, if you will, coming off the bench and looking exceptional defensively, which I think is something the Nuggets should absolutely use to their advantage and are right now. So the defense off the bench looks incredible. That's my first takeaway after watching 3 games by the Nuggets so far. They are 3-0. They beat the Lakers at home, then they went on the road, beat the Grizzlies, and then they beat OKC. OKC, a very highly talked about team before the season started. A lot of hype there. I think they still have a lot of offensive firepower. They're going to be a fun team to watch nonetheless. But the Nuggets looked great. They are looking very locked in very early. And now I think there may be some concern from some thinking kind of tough to be pushing that hard this early when there's a whole season left. There's a in-season tournament. There's the playoffs. But this is what we saw from the Nuggets all postseason and all year last year. I think some people forget because they weren't watching the Nuggets that they were the best team in the West all year long. So this is not something that they just dialed in, playoffs last year and made it work. They were locked in all season long, and we're seeing that same exact thing from them so far to start the season. They're locked in very early. I want to talk about MPJ because I mentioned him in the last episode where I talked about the Nuggets. I talked about how, hey, listen, the threes may not be your game anymore. Not to say he's not capable, but defensively, his physicality around the board, all of those things were looking really, really exceptional in the Lakers game and again against the Grizzlies. However, we did see against OKC, MPJ's threes are finally falling. And I'm telling you right now, when MPJ is making his threes, this team is simply unbeatable. I don't care about your defense. I don't care who you are. I don't care what superstar duo you have. When MPJ's threes are falling, wow, this man is nice. So we saw a little bit of that against OKC, which I love for him because what I felt like happened in the playoffs last year is that it became mental for him. When his threes weren't falling, he mentally wasn't locked in. You could tell he was off. He still did show some defensive hustle, but nonetheless, it was making him it was a mental block for him is how it looked in the playoffs last year. So I love that he's kind of getting some of that out of his system now. The threes are starting to fall. He's not letting it go mental when they aren't falling, and I love that for him. So saw some of that from MPJ. I mentioned a little bit ago the bench players that are huge defensively. Peyton Swatson, shall I say, an exceptional two-way talent, which to me is relatively hard to find. He will be great throughout the season at one thing. Outside of the blocks, outside of the defense. But more importantly, what I see as a Nuggets fan is this is the type of guy that can alleviate some of Aaron Gordon's minutes, save his body. That rotation in the playoffs, Peyton Watson to me is a two-way talent, is someone you can throw in Aaron Gordon's place and not worry about, the lead being lost or the chemistry not being there. He gets in, he knows his role. In the last game against OKC, 17 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block, 1 steal. So again, great two-way talent here for this Nuggets team. You love to see it. He comes off the bench. He knows his role. And I think down the road, alleviating some of AG's minutes is going to be huge for this Nuggets team because this starting 5 has been grinding it out now for a season and a half, if you will, if you want to include the playoffs. So this Peyton Watson will be huge for this Nuggets team coming off the bench if he keeps going the way he's going. So I love to see that. Nikola Jokic, the best player in the world. Let's talk about that, shall we? Let's talk about Nikola Jokic and how he is quite literally the best basketball player in the NBA. And it's not even close. So don't try me. Please don't try me. I'm begging you not to try me because you will look like a fool. Through 3 games, this man has 26.3 points per game, 13 rebounds per game, 7.7 assists per game. 61.5% from the field on 17.3 attempts, 45.5% from the three-point line on 3.7 attempts, and 76.9% from the free throw on 4.3 attempts. Please. You want to know the best part about this? Do you want to know the best part about those numbers I just read you? I didn't see a whole lot of footage of Nikola Jokic in the gym. I would put a lot of money down and as a betting woman, I would say he's probably not in the best shape he could be in. Does it matter? No, obviously not. Obviously it doesn't matter. Nikola Jokic to me went home to Serbia as he should have. He celebrated maybe longer than most would have, and he hasn't missed a beat. There is 0 championship hangover with this man right now. 0. It's not there. So we are seeing Nikola Jokic in his best form, which is terrifying to me because I think he is actively getting himself back into basketball shape right now with the season. Some people probably spent the offseason getting back in that shape, getting in that mental focus, getting in that grind. Jokic is getting in it actively as these games are progressing, which is terrifying. It's terrifying that you can be this good and maybe not be in your best shape or not have picked up a basketball very much in the offseason. It's scary. We're entering scary hours, NBA. I hope you realize. He has no hangover, and honestly, who cares how little or how much he picked up a basketball? Because to be honest with you, it doesn't matter. He looks exceptional. So all in all, this Nuggets team has a fundamentally sound roster. Their bench is defensively very, very important for this team. Our starters still look great. KCP defensively. KCP, Aaron Gordon, Christian Brown, and Peyton Watson right now defensively are hustling. And we know that Jamal Murray is playing like an all-star, and I don't anticipate that stopping or slowing down anytime soon. You've got MPJ's threes finally falling, and you've got the best player in the world. They have the best starting 5. And now they also have the best bench. I mean, everybody else can pack it up, is all I have to say. So that's what I have on the Nuggets. Let's jump into the Denver Broncos. 16-game losing streak? Fixed. The curse is broken. Shout out Denver Broncos. I do want to talk about the trade deadline. It is Tuesday, so let's chat. Jerry Judy, bye-bye. Thank you for making an impact. Thank you for finally showing up and helping us get a dub against the Chiefs. But the only thing I'm excited about that is that your trade value just went up. So shout out to you. But let's be real. In all seriousness, Judy has shown very little development since joining the Broncos. And he hasn't really been a crucial piece of the Sean Payton offense. Sutton has been more valuable offensively in what Sean Payton is trying to do than Jerry Judy. So loved what I saw from Jerry Judy, but mostly from the perspective of his trade value just went up and it's time for him to go. I don't think he wants to be a Denver Bronco, and I certainly don't like his piss-poor attitude lately. He's coming up on his 5th-year option. Like I said, seemingly bad attitude that he does have. I want to hope that that's just his Twitter fingers talking, but honestly, haven't loved his vibe this season. Haven't loved some of the things he says to people. Haven't loved his aggression. Haven't loved the tweeting. What I would love is just that you show up the way you did last night, every night. But I don't think that's what we're going to get from him. So trade value just went up, which I think is great. He's not crucial in the Sean Payton offense. He hasn't developed as a receiver being a part of the Broncos. So time to trade you. That would be the person right now that I think the Denver Broncos should absolutely trade, especially because he's coming up on his 5th-year option. As for someone like Sutton, who I have mentioned before as a part of a trade, he is a little bit more valuable for what Sean Payton is trying to do offensively right now. And his contract's a little bit stingier, a little bit messier. So I wouldn't go there with him, but Jerry Judy coming up on his 5th-year option, absolutely see ya. Sorry, Judy, it's nothing personal. It's business, really. But let's talk about the team as a whole. This looked like a whole new Broncos team. 3 sacks, 2 interceptions by the defense. They looked great. The defense finally looked great. This Vance Joseph-led defense finally looked like a Denver Broncos defense. If you've watched the Broncos for some time, you know defense has never been something we've had to worry about. We finally saw a good defense by the Broncos. They were playing lights out. They looked great. The 16 game losing streak, the curse has been broken, thank God. Was it Patrick Mahomes' flu? I'm sure it played a role. Was it the fact that Travis Kelce was at a Rangers game on a Friday when he had a work trip on a Sunday? Maybe. I mean, imagine that. Imagine going to a Rangers game on a Friday, which, fine, have a little fun. But you also have to be in Denver on a Sunday playing, and you catch an L? You catch an L to the Denver Broncos? I mean, not a great look. Let's keep it 100. Or was it the fact that Russell Wilson ate at the Waffle House? I think that might be it. I think it gave that man a little bit of swagger. Not going to lie. I think Waffle House kind of juiced him up a little bit. Listen, I've never felt better than when I go to a late night Waffle House. I'm just saying. So could it have been a combo of all three? Maybe. But end of discussion, Broncos won, period. I don't really care to talk about why. They won. Thank God. Thank you, Jesus. We may be a hot mess express, but at least we won. At least we broke the curse. Thank you, Jesus. The last time that we were able to beat the Chiefs, Peyton Manning was the quarterback. So shout out Russell Wilson. I want to talk about Russell Wilson for a second. Did you know there hasn't been a single quarterback this season to throw more than 2+ touchdown passes against the Chiefs until Russell did yesterday? We're not talking about it a whole lot. Did you also know Patrick Mahomes has 15 passing touchdowns and 8 interceptions this season? Russell Wilson, 16 passing touchdowns and only 4 interceptions this season. It is really easy to make Russell Wilson the fall guy. I've done it. Why? Because I saw what the Broncos gave up for him. So it's easy to be frustrated. It is very, very easy to make him the fall guy. But we have to look at what happened yesterday. Everybody showed up. Russell played about the same he's been playing all season long. Outside of the last Chiefs game, Russ has been relatively consistent. The difference was his teammates showed up around him. I don't really even like the fact that there was very little acknowledgement by Sean Payton post-game for what Russ has been doing and did yesterday. He barely talked about it. He barely mentioned Russell Wilson, if at all. I don't appreciate that. I don't like that the media is not talking about the fact that right now, in terms of passing touchdowns and interceptions, Russ looks better than Patrick Mahomes. Call it what you want. It's the truth. I didn't pull those numbers out of thin air. It's the truth. These are factual pieces of information. So we have to look at what happened yesterday. That was by far the best game by Jerry Judy in terms of impact and doing something in the game that's worth something, okay? Sure, does he have flashy numbers here and there? Of course. But in terms of impact, that was his best game. That was the best we've seen this Vance Joseph-led defense play. Russ looked like he's been looking. So 2 + 2 equals, the math is mathing, and Russ has not been the problem. Now, can the bar be set high? Can the expectation for Russ be high/higher because of what we gave up for him? Of course. But I think what yesterday showed is that Russ hasn't been the issue. Russ is not the issue. The issue is he needs his teammates. And when the defense finally shows up and when Jerry Judy finally makes an impact and Sutton is doing Cortland Sutton things, it works. It works. Finally. Russ looked to me about the same that he's looked all year outside of that one Chiefs game a couple weeks ago. Russ is not perfect. Does he have some issues in the pocket with his decision-making skills? Yes. I almost chucked my remote at the TV. I was like, bro, what are you doing? Either run or throw. 2 options. You run or you throw. But like glitching out like your controller died and just standing there, not the vibe. Let's not do that again. So, is Russ perfect? No. Does he have things to work on? Yes. But name me one perfect quarterback in the NFL. I'll wait. And you can't say Patrick Mahomes because as of yesterday, I don't really think so. There might be a little bit of overrated syndrome going on with Patrick Mahomes right now. Yes, I said it. I'm sorry. I said it. So there's not a single perfect quarterback in the NFL, not one. And if we want to play the numbers game, Russ has had a better season than Patrick Mahomes. Call it what you want. Difference is Patrick Mahomes has teammates that show up. Difference is Patrick has a defense that shows like that at least pretends there's a game going on. When we finally saw good defense, when we finally saw Jerry Judy make an impact, when we finally saw Cortland Sutton and Russell Wilson click a little bit more, it worked against the Chiefs. So trade Jerry Judy, because to be honest with you, the consistency is the biggest problem for me right now. I loved what he did yesterday. We don't get that every week with Jerry Judy. Are you out of your mind? We'll be lucky if we get that once a month from Jerry Judy. Love him, but he's not consistent. So I loved what I saw from the Broncos, obviously. I'm a very happy Broncos fan right now, and I think it gave me some hope that we aren't royally screwed for years to come. I'll be interested to see how the culture changes if we trade Jerry Judy. And I'm being so dead ass. I'm being so serious. I really am. I'm going to leave you with that little sneaky take. I'm going to be very interested to see how the culture changes when Jerry Judy is traded. If Jerry Judy is traded, but he should be. And I'll leave it at that. This has been another Liv Moods podcast right here on YouTube. Like I said, I will drop another video tonight reacting to Week 8 in the NFL, so make sure you're there. Make sure you're tuning in. Drop in the comments how you feel. What did you like about the Broncos yesterday? What didn't you like about the Broncos yesterday? How do you feel about the Denver Nuggets? Damn. I think between them and the Kings, those are probably the two most fun teams to watch right now in the NBA, which is very, very funny considering just how many people said that the Nuggets were boring to watch. Kick rocks. No, they're not. This has been another podcast. Thank you for being here. We will see you again tonight. Drop down anything that you've got in the comments, even feedback. Hey, Liv, I want you to talk about this next time. Hey, Liv, lighting looks a little weird today. Hey, Liv, I don't care. I love the feedback. Make sure you subscribe. We will be back again this evening. Appreciate you for hanging around. Go Nuggets. Go Broncos. See ya.